Coming up on Focus on Framingham, we're going to talk about the budget shortfall and how they're taking money from the school budget. We're going to talk about the Dulce de Leche. We're going to talk about the COVID positive case in the school system. We're going to talk about the school bus driver shortage. Facebook group called Chew on This that's helping local restaurants. We're going to talk about the new teacher vaccine for teachers and caregivers starting on March 11th. City Hall is reopening, and the Belknap pool coming up on Focus on Framingham. Hi, welcome to Focus on Framingham. This is show number 18, and I'm doing this a little bit differently. I'm going to try to record shorter segments and put them together instead of trying to do all one show at one shot. Because as you probably have noticed, it's been a few weeks since I've done a show. In fact, I think the last show I did was back in December. So today is March 4th, 2021. And as usual, my main story is the coronavirus. And the city has sent out an update as of the 3rd, saying that they had 37 residents have tested positive, 28 more have recovered, and the city has learned of 2 new fatalities. But to bring us up to speed, the number of people in the city who have tested positive for COVID-19 is 6,885. With 5,427 cases and 228 fatalities. Framingham currently has 1,230 active cases. So that's kind of where we stand. Now, the vaccine is slowly rolling out, including at the Natick Mall. I don't know if they're open yet. I'll try to find out and have a little more information on that. But some of the other stories I wanted to cover, there was this issue that came up late last year about there was a proposal to cut the $800,000 from the Framingham school budget. And I guess this was because this was a the mayor. And this is based on an op-ed by Jeffrey Epstein, who is the chair of the Framingham School Committee's Finance and Operations Subcommittee. So he would kind of be in the know about this. But basically, I'm going to read the what he wrote, and this is from Framingham source. Framingham and the chief financial officer recently proposed cutting $800,000 from the school district budget to partially and temporarily fix a chronic problem with the city water and sewer operation. And for more information on that, there's a $2.5 million shortfall in the water and sewer fund. Because of lower consumption and because of COVID-19, the city is facing a deficit or gap in Framingham's Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund. The Division of Local Services, DLS, will not certify the city's general fund tax rate unless the revenue gap in the enterprise fund is closed. Without action, the shortfall will be added to levy the balance of the budget for fiscal year 21, which would result in increased taxes. This is by Susan Petroni at Framingham Source has an article about this, and this was back in December. Instead, the city strategy is to pay off the shortfall over the 3 years. DLS will allow amortization of the FY20 revenue shortfall, but the Framingham will have to take in 1/3, $500,000 of the fiscal year 20, $1.5 million shortfall in fiscal year 21. So this is kind of a problem. So the mayor recommends the general fund voted budget by supplementing or reducing the following budget. Reduce Framingham Public Schools by $800,000. Amend the fiscal year, I think she meant 2020 here, enterprise voted budget by supplementing, reducing the following budget appropriations: reduce the water department by 100,000, the sewer department by 100,000. So this is kind of, I think, caused a lot of issues here in Framingham in terms of, I think there's a disconnect between the city council and the mayor. Um, I'm going to try to get more information on that, maybe in this show or in the next show. Um, One other item that's going on right now, and this is from March 4th, is that the City of Framingham DPW will host a virtual neighborhood meeting via Zoom on Thursday, March 18th at 6 p.m. Hopefully I can get this to air by before then. And the city actually sent out a press release about that earlier today. Let's see, it's a media alert. Framingham, Mass. City of Framingham DPW will host a virtual meeting via Zoom to review the construction plans and anticipated impacts for the Knobscott Intersection Improvements Project. City staff and the design consultant will present information about the project, including pedestrian safety and access improvements, replacement of the existing traffic signals, roadway geometry modification, streetscape and drainage improvements, ornamental street lighting, sidewalk replacement, and new roadway pavement. So this sounds a lot like kind of like what they did with the School and Water Street intersection, and how that was updated a few years ago. Although they didn't even have a traffic light there, so there'll be a meeting handout and construction plans are available on the city's website. So we'll have to see how that goes. Obviously, there's a lot of work going on in that intersection. They moved the church from the corner. They're building the new building there. And the old Knobscott Plaza, I think the only thing that's open there is the CVS. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the CVS is moving to the corner position. So I'll be back in just a moment with some more news and headlines here on Focus on Framingham. Hi, we're back here at Focus on Framingham. This following story is a very sad one. This happened a few weeks ago in mid-February. It started with the headline that the family and police were seeking a missing Framingham woman. Police, and this is from Framingham Source, police and the family are seeking the public's help to find the missing Framingham woman, Samantha Sam Amantha Savar, 47, was last seen at CVS in Natick just after 6:30 p.m. on February 13th, according to her friend and her husband. Police have not been able to confirm that she was in or near the CVS. Her husband, Jules, and her son said that she did not come home last night. She owns Dulce de Leche in Lashell and Framingham with her husband, but has not been seen by either location on February 14th. It was a very sad story because 2 days later, they did find her unresponsive by police. I'm trying to click on the article here and it's not opening. Let's see. Try this link. So this headline reads from Framingham Source that Sam, who has been missing since Saturday night, was found today, February 15th, and was unresponsive. She has died. Her family has been notified. Some of the Boston area news outlets like WBZ, WCVB, I believe, they did initially report on it, but because I guess this was a kind of a family situation, they didn't report any further on it after that. But I know that she had been struggling with migraines and with depression, according to some of the reporting. So it's a very unfortunate. It was very sad. There is a GoFundMe for the family, I believe, and there's also ways to support them through buying. There's an online merch site where you can buy Dulce de Leche t-shirts and other items. So if you'd like to try to help the family in that way, I would suggest I'll put some links up on the show and in the show notes to those resources. Hi, we're back. Here's another news item from March 4th. This was also reported by Framingham source. Framingham Elementary receives a COVID positive for pooled testing. One of the district's 9 elementary schools has received a COVID positive response for pooled testing. Um, Framingham Public School District was approved for pool testing by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in January. Schools started going back after the winter break in February. Um, Not full time for everybody. I think it's about 50% of the classes are or the students are back in the schools again, and they return to the more the in-person schedule again as well. Began using the pooled testing in February when Phase 1 and 2 and eventually Phase 3 students returned to the classrooms. Yesterday, Phase 4 students in Cohort B began to return to the classrooms. Cohort A will return on Monday. The positive pool test came back from Brophy Elementary School. Those students in the pool testing will now have to receive individual COVID-19 tests. Um, Tremblay explained back in January that these tests combine respiratory samples from several students and conduct one laboratory test in the combined pool of samples to detect SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. A pooled test result is negative than all the individuals. So basically, they're just doing a whole bunch of kids at once so that they can kind of save on the cost of having to do the individual tests. Um, Pooled positive results do not appear in the district's dashboard, by the way. They do keep a dashboard online of the COVID-19 status. So I figured I'd mention that. That the reopening of schools has been a very controversial topic here in Framingham um, as to whether or not it's safe or not. The CDC did provide guidelines on how to safely do it, but it involves a great deal of both the testing, the tracing, the distancing at school, the sanitation, the air circulation, and filtration. So it was not an easy undertaking by any stretch of the imagination for the school to pull this off. And a lot of students are still learning from home. So um, my experience with my kids is it seems that the kids that had more trouble learning in person or learning remotely are the ones that returned in person. So I guess that works out because remote learning isn't for everybody, not for every kid. Some kids do well, some kids don't. So this provided a way to get those kids back in school safely, and it looks like so far it's been okay. So we'll keep following the story here at Focus on Framingham. Hi, welcome back to Focus on Framingham. Here's another school-related story. And this is reported by Framingham Source again. Um, 2,000 students on the Framingham buses, but seats not available for 115. As of March 3rd, Framingham began phase 4, the final phase of reopening school. An additional 759 students were on the school buses, according to the Framingham Executive Director of Finance and Operations, Lincoln Lynch. Lynch said 53 school buses were operating today, one less than the Durham had promised the school committee and far short of the 77 contracted bus drivers. So I guess they're having issues getting drivers. The 35 letters were sent to families telling them that the seat was not available and that they were ineligible for transportation services. I haven't even heard a school bus so far this year, which is a very eerie because you used to hear school buses all day and all in the afternoon. Um, so recently, the city has awarded. Let's see. The city has also sent a letter to Durham School Service stating that the company was in breach of its current contract and said it can only provide 54 drivers of the 77 contracted routes. It's the first time in it was the first time in a physical classroom for these students in the 2021 school year. Phase 4 students who may not have been in the classroom since March 2020 began the day. Cohort B started today, March 3rd, and Cohort A will start on Monday. So it looks like if you are in the school bus driving profession, you are sorely needed here in Framingham. So I would suggest that you contact the Durham Bus Company as soon as possible. See if you can help them out. We'll be back in just a moment. Hi, we're back, and I'm trying out a different camera, so I might look a little bit different. The next thing I wanted to talk about was a Facebook group on Facebook called Chew on This, which is a food enthusiast group based out of Metro West. And if you join this group, you are most likely going to gain a few pounds. And one thing that they've been doing during the pandemic to support local restaurants that I wanted to mention was a Venmo challenge. And I'll just read from one of their admins' post about it. Each week, we will collect money from this group in small increments. Most people give $1 to $5. And whatever is collected that week will be given as a tip to a small restaurant's curbside business. If we get to $500, I will cash out and hold the rest for the next week. Venmo to participate. She gives her name, last 4 digits of her number to do the Venmo transaction. And then she puts, we will focus on a new town city each week, but the actual restaurant will be a surprise each time. I will be sharing a video weekly and happy to continue as long as people want to give. So, for example, in January, they gave to Pizza by Rocco and Natick. Then the Enaman Thai Cuisine in Framingham and Holliston, the Corner Market, in Wellesley, the Riceburg, Marlborough, the Linguini's Italian Eatery, Linguini's, I guess, Wayland, the Dudley Chateau and the Villa Restaurant in Wayland, and Milford, the Depot Street Tavern, and the Millis, the Primavera. So you can see they're all over, and she'll, I guess, cycle through the different towns in Metro West. So if you want to support a local restaurant and you don't necessarily even want to get takeout from them, but you want to still support them, this is a quick and easy way to do it. If you join this group, I can guarantee you that you're going to be inundated with tons and tons of yummy food pics. So please be careful because, like I said, you might end up gaining a few pounds from this group. We'll be back in just a second. Our next story is about teachers and childcare workers here in Massachusetts. The governor announced a few days ago that starting March 11th, all teachers and childcare workers are eligible for the vaccine, which is about 400,000 in the state. So this is a story from NBC 10. Governor's announcement came a day after President Joe Biden urged states to prioritize vaccinations for teachers. In the same day, retail pharmacy locations that had been offering vaccinations announced that they would start accepting signups for teachers. Baker said that the state's move will make about 400,000 educators, childcare workers, and school staff eligible for a vaccine. He said because the vaccination supply remains limited, it may take some time to book an appointment. Below, read the announcement sent out by the Baker administration. So they put the announcement here from the state, and it's basically there's 170 sites that are currently open for eligible residents. And they give the www.mass.gov/COVID vaccine map, which I guess will help you pick a location. And this week, the state anticipates over 250,000 doses will be administered between first and second doses across all providers throughout the Commonwealth. On Thursday, March 4th, 12,000 new first appointments for mass vaccination sites will be made available for eligible groups, and over 45,000 new second dose appointments have also been scheduled at mass vaccination sites. The number of new appointments, first dose appointments, is less than previous weeks due to the volume of the second dose appointments. 7,500 appointments have also been booked by the call center 211 for older adults who are unable to use a computer to book an appointment and required assistance. That was the number that they set up for older people that don't have access to a computer or kind of really computer savvy. So I just wanted to mention that. Also, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The COVID-19 Command Center was notified that Massachusetts is receiving only one shipment of 58,000 doses for the month of March. These doses have been allocated primarily to hospitals and health systems. Based on information the Commonwealth has received from the federal government, the administration does not expect to be able to order more Johnson & Johnson doses until the end of March or early April. I think it's because of the ramp up in the supply. Because I know that Johnson & Johnson went into an agreement with Merck to produce the doses under that new deal that Joe Biden had arranged with them. While the Commonwealth is receiving limited doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in March, the administration is continuing the plan for eventual widespread distribution of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So I thought that was some good news here on the COVID-19 front. So we'll be back in just a second here with another story. Well, here's some other COVID-19 news that sounds good. The Framingham City Hall fully back in business. This is a story in the Metro West Daily News. For the first time since last March, City Hall fully reopens to the public starting Monday. A city press release said all doors will be unlocked except for the front doors at the top of the outside staircase. City Hall has been shut down on March 17th of 2020 due to the coronavirus outbreak. Some doors reopened June 1st to accommodate limited in-person access to certain departments. Modified hours were put in place in June and will remain 8:30 to 4 p.m. on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, Tuesday 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Friday 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Oh, they close early on Fridays, huh? The hours allow for cleaning and disinfecting of the building. Staff will continue to work their regular schedules determined by the division and department heads. The hours allow for I already read that. The face coverings and social distancing are required inside City Hall. Each office has limited capacity. Once it's reached, people will form a line in the hall and stand on markers that adhere to social distancing. Meanwhile, the city's COVID-19 death toll now stands at 228. So they go into the story that I covered earlier here. So I thought that was some encouraging news that they're able to reopen, as the trend seems to be here in Framingham slowly going down, and hopefully as the vaccine takes hold and the warmer weather moves in, things will improve. So we'll be back in just a second with another story. Well, here's some summer news for you. The Framingham Youth Council unanimously supports purchase of Belknap Pool. This is from Framingham Source. The Framingham Youth Council voted unanimously to support the purchase of the Belknap Pool and Club by the city of Framingham. The council voted 8-0 Sunday night to recommend the 11-member city council to purchase the outdoor pool and 6 acres of land. Voting in favor, and they list the 8 members here. Only 8 of the 13 members were in attendance for the vote. Built in 1947, the city of Framingham has the right to match the offer of $315,000 for the pool and club at 351 Belknap Road. The city was notified back in November 24th of 2020 of the pending sale agreement by the Framingham Swimming Pool Association. The city council has the item on its agenda for March 2nd. Oh, so maybe I should follow up on that. It would provide the city of Framingham a place for swimming programs to be held definitely. It would also help to unify the youth of Framingham by providing a pool to be used by all regardless of the socioeconomic status, wrote the Youth Council. It would allow Framingham to have town spirit by making sure the city's recreational high school teams are swimming in a pool owned by their city, and make it easier for Framingham swim teams to not have to struggle to find a pool to use, wrote Youth Council in the position statement of the City Council. And I can tell you it's probably going to be a nicer pool than the Keefe Tech pool, although I haven't been there in a few years. The Keefe Tech pool, tons of chlorine, and it could really, really burn your throat and your eyes after a while. Being an outdoor pool, it doesn't need to use as much chlorine, so that's kind of a plus. Framingham Parks and Recreation swim team, the Framingham Frogs, use Keefe's Technical as its home pool, but when the pool closes for part of the summer, the Frogs train outside at the Belknap pool. Also, Framingham High's championship caliper team swim and dive teams also use the swim at Keefe Technical. But I don't think that they have like a diving board really at the Belknap pool. The Youth Council wants the city to purchase Belknap and consider investing in an inflatable pool bubble like the town of Wayland. The pool is home to Wayland's championship swim and dive team. If Framingham decides to make the purchase, the Youth Council would want the city to look into the purchase of the dome to make the pool available for use year-round, and for all municipal and school programs to be prioritized by the pool. Now, here's my little 2 cents. If they're going to do that, I think they should also install some solar power to provide the heating and electricity for the pumping, because pools can use a lot of electricity, and I think that would also, in the long term, cut down a lot on the operational costs. So I thought that was a nice little story, and I'll try to find out more about that as the year goes on. So we'll be back in just a second with some more news. Well, as it turns out, that's all I have for this week. So thanks for watching, and I hope to have another show in a couple of weeks here on Focus on Framingham. You can always email me at mike@focusonframingham.tv or visit our website, focusonframingham.tv. See you next time. Well, here's some summer news for you. Framingham Youth Council unanimous Venmo challenge. What is it? Venmo challenge. Each week we will collect money. Coming up on Focus on Framingham, we're going to talk about the budget. Hello and welcome to Focus on Framingham. My name's Mike Cunningham, and I have a double chin. It's really just basically what's happening here.